Paws and Affection is a service dog organization. We train and place service dogs for children with disabilities in the greater Philadelphia area who are between the ages of 9 and 20.
Our original goal was to train service dogs for kids with physical disabilities, but we have since broadened and we're now doing some diabetic alert training, as well as some psychiatric support, and a bigger variety of things.
There's organizations that help veterans and autism and the blind and all of those kinds of things, and it just sort of felt right to help children. And then as we did more research on the aspect of children with disabilities, the government doesn't really start helping a person with a disability until after they turn 18 or even 21. And prior to that, the parents are responsible for all things related to the child, which is fine, but it's hard and there's a lot to do. And so we felt like if we could give dogs to those children, it would kind of be a helpmate to a child during a really important time in your life when there's a lot of development going on. A lot of people with disabilities would like to do it on their own, and having a dog with them is sort of doing it on their own. They don't have to depend on another human to help them. It provides independence. But you can lean on a dog to get onto the toilet. You can lean on a dog to stand up and then wash your hands. So it can feel much more independent. But that's only like a tiny piece of it. The emotional connection that the dog and the child have, that connection with another living thing that's just for that child, means a ton.
The bond between the person and the dog is everything. You know, the training is a big part of it, but it's a lot about just having them spend time together. That ends up being critical to the whole the success of the team, is really making sure that you see that kind of spark there. Traditional training, you know, back in the day, the focus was always on the dog shouldn't do that, and you know, you roll up the newspaper or whatever and smack the dog if they pee in the house or whatever. Our focus now, and the trend in dog training now, is towards rewards-based methods. So we're looking at, okay, in any situation where the dog is doing something that you want to change, or you want to teach them something new, we're looking at, okay, what would I like the dog to do instead? Just sort of started doing exercises that I would have done with any pet dog that I wanted the same thing out of. So lots of impulse control work, lots of settle work, and then as they got a little bit older and through their adolescent period, starting to throw in some task training, so the fun like tricks stuff. And then in terms of creating the training program for our recipients, it was really how to teach someone who's potentially never handled a dog before, you know, what is a dog, like what is dog behavior? How do you even know what they're thinking and feeling, and how do you communicate with them effectively? Those dogs are working all the time, especially, and I think this is probably the hardest thing for people to understand, especially when they don't look like they're working. They're still expected to be on and ready to jump to attention if they need to. And every time someone interrupts that focus, then they have to get refocused again. And if at that moment that you're petting the dog and the dog's like, hey, and enjoying it, if their person starts to have trouble and needs them, you've ruined that connection. That's a harsh way to say it, but you've broken that connection.
You become something that people are excited about or attracted to or want to talk to you, which probably didn't happen before. One of the reasons there is no governing body over this is because the government wants to protect the people with disabilities first. And so there needs to be the ability for anyone with a disability to train their dog to be a service dog.